Oh yes, hello hyperspace. My name is Davontos and it's time to get hyped because today we are getting a good tour of the new map that just launched in Overwatch, Oasis, and I love this map. I played on this map a couple of times and I have to say, it's one of those king of the hill, capture the objective kind of maps, and it plays out completely different like all of the old maps, and this map is amazing. It has a really nice tropical feel to it, or maybe it's just me, but it's a really nice looking map. It's kind of big, and because it's those capture points, you basically have 3 mini maps in one. This is one of the capture points. This is one of the spawn locations. I have my good friend Powervora on the other side. He's on the enemy team. You're going to see him walking around as well. But let's get a tour of Oasis. Now, I'm not too sure where this is or who this level belongs to, just like, you know, Route 66 belongs to McCree and so on. I believe this stage is supposed to be for Symmetra, I think, because I know she's a scientist and it's supposed to be some kind of laboratory, but whatever. Let's get onto the tour. Now, there are a lot of flank routes here, and the capture points are designed much differently than the older capture points. So if you look at a map, let's say like Elo's capture points are very specific. You have a capture point down in the middle, you have a capture point off on the side, and you have a capture point, well, by the big well. This one, it's a little twist. You have capture points off on the side, like in Elo's, however, there are multiple flank routes to get to these capture points. And you're actually seeing that's the enemy spawn building right there, and it's kind of both symmetrical, both enemy spawn and teammate spawn, just for balancing purposes, but the capture point itself is very unique. Now, this is the capture point right here. Underneath this balcony is the capture point, which means if you're a D.Va, Torbjorn, Bastion, and so on, you can actually get up here and take people out who are capturing the point. So if you're trying to capture that point, you're going to have to be on the lookout for people up above, people coming from front of you, and people coming from the side. So it's a huge twist. Usually with the old capture points, you just know that they're coming from their spawn. But because this map is so unique, I guess is a good word for it, because it's so unique, you never know where enemies are going to pop up from. And this is just one of the capture points. We're going to go look at all 3, and I'm going to show you how unique Oasis really is. Now, I don't have a lot of experience on Oasis. I only played this map about a handful of times, like 4 or 5 times. However, I do see heroes that are very powerful here as heroes with high DPS. So we're looking at 76, D.Va, McCree, Reaper, Bastion. Those guys who can just constantly deploy continuous fire are very, very powerful heroes, because it's going to give the enemies a hard time to get to the objective, especially since there are so many flank routes. You never know where the enemy is going to pop out from, so constantly shooting out DPS is going to make it difficult for the enemies to capture that point, or even hold it down if you're trying to capture it yourself. Surprisingly, there are a lot of sniper spots in this map. Now, you're going to see I'm exploring the upper areas, so you can like hook on to Widowmaker or climb up as Hanzo if you plan to be a sniper, but just looking at the all-over map in general, there are a lot of sniper spots, a lot of places for you to hide and pick people off who are capturing the point. This little balcony that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is one of them. If you're a really good Hanzo, you can pick off quite a few people if you're staying up on the balcony. There's a window across from the balcony. I believe you've seen me fly it in there before, but that window is really good if you're a Hanzo or a Widowmaker, so you can, you know, quickly take people off and then, you know, jump to cover or get back inside that little cupboard pocket thing for cover. So it's really good for high DPS heroes, but it's also really useful if you want to play stealthy. Let's say like a Genji, Sombra, Widowmaker. If you want to play stealthy or play aggressive, it's really, really useful. And you see right there, you fall down in the water and you die. So let's get a look at another capture point. Now, this capture point is really unique, and we'll see why later, but this is the spot where you're supposed to stick all the stickers. Everybody puts it on that block of wood, but you can actually get up there if you're playing as Pharah or D.Va or somebody who can, you know, get some elevation. This is just the spawn section, nothing really to do in here. I'm surprised there's not a lot you can destroy. Most spawn sections, like, what was it, like Route 66, or especially Volsky Industries, they have a lot of stuff for you to like smash up and stuff. This, not so much. But anyway, here's just a little spawn section. Nothing much to do here unless you can fly up here and say hello to your guys down below. But let's get to the interesting stuff when you actually start to play. This is the part of the map that has environmental hazards. Now, when I turn around, you're going to see that there are cars there. But right up there, really quick, I know a lot of you guys are curious, you cannot fly up there. I'm trying to fly as high as I can with Pharah, but you can't do it. However, you can actually get underneath here. I don't really see how this would serve a purpose, but you can get underneath and I guess fool around in there for a little bit and then fly back out. These cars are an environmental hazard. Let's watch what happens.
Hello.
Ooh, imagine all the stuff you can do to other players on the road. Now, imagine, let's say you're playing as a Pharah, and you see somebody on the street, or close to the street, you can use your concussion blast and push them on the street, and get yourself a free kill. Environmental hazards, amazing. So, let's get on to the capture point. Now, I know a lot of you guys are also curious about this street. The missiles can go quite far, however you cannot. I'm flying over, there's an invisible wall right there, and I'm trying to follow the traffic into the tunnel ahead, but there's also an invisible wall. So this is the capture point right here, but we're going to get a look at this later. Let's look at the other side of the map. As you see, we're going to fly over here. Give me 1 second. Okay, that was our spawn right there, which means you just come through this building. I guess it's some kind of, I don't know, temple. You just come through here, some health, another flank route. As I said, this level is littered with flank routes. You never know where these enemies are going to pop out from. And this is the bounce pad. This is very, very useful. Now, I am not using her jetpack. This is actually the bounce pad that's making me fly up like a trampoline. You can use that in so many ways. You can use it to snipe people down on the point. You can turn it into Sentry Gun Bastion and just rain terror as you're bouncing. You can use it as, well, anybody, Reinhardt, and just shoot fireballs. Any creative ideas you guys have, you can use it on that bounce pad and launch it to the objective. This is back at the enemy spawn. Again, it's symmetrical, just like our spawn. But let's get a look at the capture point. Oh, wait 1 second. Before we get a look at the capture point, I know a couple of guys are probably curious about these cars. You cannot destroy the cars or harm the cars in any way. You can see right here I try to shoot some missiles at it, and they just blow up, and the car just, well, continues being a car. So, let's head on to the capture point. Leave these cars alone. These guys are probably late for work or whatever reason. And we're gonna look at this epic capture point. Now, on this capture point, enemies will be popping up from all over the place, as I said before, but specifically this one is going to be insane. You have enemies popping up from, well, their spawn. You have enemies who will be using the bounce pad. That little building I went into is actually in the middle of the capture point, which can be used for quick cover or for traps. If you want to put Junkrat's bear trap or Symmetra pods in there, it can be very useful to get a cheap kill or two. So this capture point is insane. You never know where these enemies are going to pop out from. There's been a couple times where I'm playing and we're holding down the point, and then enemies start appearing from above, which means they're using the bounce pad, and they even start coming from our spawn. So if you're holding down the objective, just keep your eyes open, because you never know where these enemies are going to appear from. Now, let's get a look at the last part of this map, the last capture point. And here we are. This is one of the spawn rooms in the last capture point. Now, this is why I said it looks kind of like a laboratory, because you have these robots flying around, and they kind of look like they have Symmetra's blue laser beam emitting from their eyeballs or windshields, whatever those things are. But, again, there's still not much for you to destroy in these capture points. Now, I haven't seen all of the capture points, which is why I'm not putting them in the video, because I haven't seen what the enemy side looks like, but there's this weird black ball of matter in the middle, and if you punch it, it like kind of oozes out some jelly, and you shoot it and it's the same thing. Now, with bullets, these robots will start emitting some electricity, but apparently with missiles, it just goes right through. So, let's get a look at the map. Clearly one of the most unique capture points in any Overwatch level, and the reason for this is because unlike the last point where you gotta worry about enemies coming from above or your spawn, this one you gotta worry about them coming from above, your spawn, and even below you. Yes, this capture point has 2 floors. So let's actually get a look at that. Now, this is our spawn over here. Now, if we turn around, that staircase actually leads underneath. Let me check that out right now. I guess there's some kind of, I don't know, secret files in here. I'm not too sure what this is, but there's nothing much to do down here. They have like a little battle. There is a health pack, but up above is the capture point. When you are down here, you cannot capture the point. So, we're going around to the other side, and here is the enemy spawn. Again, those robots don't do anything with rockets for some reason. And here is the point. Now, you can actually just dive straight down to the bottom floor, or if you're at the bottom floor, you can fly up and start capturing the point and catch everybody off by surprise. So in this map, you always gotta be on your toes, at least on this capture point. So, it's a really good idea to keep moving if you're capturing the point, because people will come from above you, they will come from under you, they'll come by your spawn, and it's not a good idea to put some turrets. I know a lot of people tend to put turrets on capture points like Symmetras or Bastions and Torbjorns, but in this one, because so much is happening, it's good to keep moving. So like 76 and Diva, as I said before, they are very, very powerful in these kind of maps. That little, I guess, podium or theater, whatever that was, I'm guessing that's some kind of Blizzard Easter egg. I'm not too familiar with all the Blizzard games, but that just seemed like some kind of big Easter egg they had back there. And that's basically about it. These windows can be destroyed. I don't really see any purpose they serve. And there's a little hiding spot back here. I guess you can plus some teleporters or whatnot. So, if you liked the video, lick that like button with a sticky tongue. You can follow me up on Twitter at DavontosMan. And as always, I'll see all of you in the next video, which will probably be about Roadhog. Have a nice day!
Are you a skilled Lucio player? Do you have enough skill to wall run outside of the map on Oasis, around all of these pillars, both front and back, where your team captures the point? You are able to heal them as you do so, but let's see how long you can last before you fall over. Try it on the Lucio Oasis Wall Running Challenge!